Hello everyone. I welcome you all for today's session on digital system design using Verilog. Today we will be starting about the second module that's on memory. Okay, today is the first lecture on this. I'm your friend Madhivas Khanderao, Assistant Professor, Department of ENC, Gosia College of Engineering, Ramanagaram. If you're not subscribed to my channel, subscribe to my channel for further notification. So we have three important things that's about memory concepts, memory types, and error detection and correction. These are the three important things which we have. First, let us concentrate on the memory concepts. So, if you understand here memory concepts, let us see the brief information on this particular memory concept there. So, many digital systems use the memories for storing information. Now, I have a question here is that why we require a memory? In a simple way, as you know, humans have brain which stores the information. Same thing in the system, we need certain memory location where we need to store the information there. Okay. So memory in general purpose computer takes several forms, including semiconductor memory chip, magnetic disk, and optical disk. If you see the magnetic disk is nothing but hard disk of our systems. Optical disk nothing but either CDs or DVDs or Blu-ray DVDs. So many are there. Okay, so it depends what we have there. So different types which we'll be studying it in the future there. So you are seeing the pen drives. So as they are saying memory chip, that's one of the example of the semiconductor memory chip there. That's the external one. Whereas in hard disk itself, we have so inbuilt memory. Okay. So we describe the various types of semiconductor memories. Since other forms of memories are much less frequently used in the application specific digital system. So in this today's or in this particular second module, what we'll be concentrating is on the how the semiconductor memories are used and different types of semiconductor memories. There are other types of memories, but which is not frequently used in the design. So we'll just concentrate on this one there. Okay. So we introduced registers as a components for storing a binary coded information. In the first and simple way to understand is that we know the flip-flops stores the information, and if you connect the flip and even one bit flip-flop is also called a one bit register, and if you connect n number of flip-flops parallelly or serially there, it depends how you are using it. So there we say the term as registers. Okay, so a memory is a conceptually an array of storage registers or locations, each of which has a distinct address, which is a number identifying the location. Very simple to understand this. If you observe here, what it is saying, it's a conceptually an array of storage registers. In simple way to make you understand, let us take our class strength itself, where we have a 60 in strength in our class, and each of the student is having his own unique identity number, that is university register number there. So like this, as you know, each student is being given a distinct address to identify that particular student. Okay, now this is the most important thing what you must have it, address assigning to each location, and it should be a different in that. Okay, next. So addresses of a memory typically starts from 0 and increases by 1 for each location up to 1 less than the number of location. What's the meaning is that now if we take for example, generally when we are studying the number systems, okay, we are seeing the binary. We are seeing the binary number systems. When we say binary, it is basis 2. But what we are seeing there, 0 and 1. Okay, same octal 0 to 7, hexadecimal 0 to 15, decimal 0 to 9. Like that, here also memory location starts from 0 and at the number of location minus 1 there. Okay, let us see simple example on this one. For most memory component, the number location is a power of 2. Why it is power of 2 is that since the system understands the binary number system, so we prefer to use the power of 2 there. Okay, so now as I said in the previous topic, the total locations what we have is 2 raised to n location, and the address is ranging from 0 to 2 raised to n minus 1. It means it is requiring n bit address. So to represent 2 raised to n minus 1 location, we require n bit location. Okay, now each memory system consists of m bits of encoded information. So each location stores m bit of encoded information. So the total number of bits in the memory components are, now how many locations we have? 2 raised to n. So each register is having m bits. So what is the size of representation of memory is this. This is the standard representation of any memory location system, where 2 raised to n represents the number of memory locations what we have, and each location consists of m bits. So this is the most important thing to understand there. Now let us see simple example on this. If a memory has 32,768 locations, means they are saying memory size is of 32,768, each of 32 bits. Okay, what is the total capacity of the memory and how many address bit does it require? For example, what they have asked. Now solution what we have is, if you observe, total number of memory location what we have is 2 raised to n, which is equal to 32,768, and the given is m is 32 bits. As we have known that total number of bits in the memory component is 2 raised to m, that is 2 raised to n into m is equal to what? 32,768 into 32, which is nothing but 10,48,576 bits, or 1 megabit memory location. So what is the total capacity of memory location is 1 megabit. That is, it requires how many bits? 2 raised to 20 bits for representing 1 megabits of memory location there. So n is how much? What is there is 20 bits. Now for the available memory location, how much it is required is 32,768 is nothing but 2 raised to 15. So the memory requires 15 address bit. Okay. Now we have seen the different configuration what we have there, what size it may be presenting there. So when referring to the memory size, we usually use the following multiplier prefix denoting the power of 2. In simple way, kilo, mega, gigabits. So kilo means 2 raised to 10, mega means 2 raised to 20, giga means 2 raised to 30. So what is 2 raised to 10? It is 1024. 2 raised to 20 is 1024 into 1024 is nothing but 1000. There is a 10,48,576. 2 raised to 30 is nothing but 1024 into 1024 into 1024 3 times. So, okay, when you do that, it is 107 crore 37 lakh 41,824. Okay, so this is the size of the memory location. The general representation what we'll be observing in the future session there. Now let us see, given a memory of certain capacity, any capacity, we can recognize it in different way, varying the number of locations and number of bits per location. It means what? If I want one size of memory location, this can be designed in a different configuration there. One simple example is, if I want to design a 1 megabit memory, what we can have is either we can have 32K cross 32 bits. It means memory location is 32,000 and it's of 32 bit, which you have seen it in the previous example, or 16K of memory location, each of 60 bits, 64 bits. So, or we have a memory location of 64,000 where each is having 16-bit memory there. Like this, for same memory size, there can be different configuration what we can design. It depends upon the user requirement. So again, it comes here, what is the requirement specification in designing the memory there. Okay, like this we can have different configuration there. Okay, so there are two basic operations performed by the memory. What are those? Simple thing, writing and reading. So writing binary data to a location and reading the content of a location. In simple way, if you observe, what we are doing is that when we are reading the book, okay, so we are receiving it. Or else when we are writing it, we are transferring it on a notebook. The same thing here also it happens. What? Writing the binary data to a location or reading the content of that particular location. These are the two basic operations what we have. So for both operations, we need to provide the address of the location to be written or read on a set of input signals to the memory components. So once we specify the address, then what the processor does is that it goes to that particular memory location. It depends upon the what type of operation, either it want to read or write, the processor performs that by decoding that particular address there. So for write operation, we provide the data to write as a set of input signal, and for a read operation, the memory components provide the data as a set of output signal. Okay, so how this particular data is operated, it's explained it. So now we control the write operation using the control signal generated by the control section of the digital system that contains the memory component. So as we know that if any operation has to perform, it needs to be controlled. And for controlling that, we already seen the finite state machine design there. Okay. Now let us see a simple example what we explained there. As a simple memory component is shown in this particular figure, which consists of A represented as an address, okay, encoded as unsigned binary numbers, whereas data underscore in is considered as data input, data underscore out is considered as data output, enable and write signal we have there. Okay, so the control signals are enable and write. So when enable is 0, the memory simply maintains all of the stored data. So when enable is 0, nothing should be performed because it's an idle state. But when enable is 1 and write is 1, what happens? We need to write the data. So the memory writes the data present in the data input at the location provided by the address. Okay, provided by the address. Okay, so this happens a write operation. Now for the read, so when enable is 1, we have WR is 0. Now observe here, as I said, optimization of design, we are not using extra signal for read. We are using the same write. When write becomes 0, the memory component will understand it is a read operation. When it is a read operation, the content of the location present in the memory, okay, content of the location present in the memory whose address is given in the address bit is read and given it to the data output. Okay, in this way, read and write operations are performed. Now, we have a simple design which we need to design there. That's about a design an audio echo effect unit that operates by delaying the samples of an audio signal represented as a stream of 16 bits. Now, the given question, what they are saying is that audio signal is of 16 bits and it has to be delayed and stored it in a memory location. 2's complement binary coded value. The sample rate is, and at what rate the data is coming is 50 kilohertz. Arrival of new input sample is indicated by a control input. Okay, audio underscore in underscore enable being 1 for the clock cycle in which the sample arrives. So when enable is active and control signals are indicated, it indicates the new sequences is coming there. So the unit should indicate availability of the output samples using an output control signal. So once the output is available, it should be indicated by the output control signal and the audio output underscore enable in the same way as the input. So the delay time is determined by 8-bit unsigned input representing the number of milliseconds of delay. So it is represented by 8 bits. Okay, the system clock frequency is 1 megahertz. So this is the given question for the design. Okay, general one. Okay, now what are the solutions? So if you observe what is the given thing there, we can delay the arriving audio samples value by storing them in a memory until they are required at the output. What is the meaning of this one? Since we have to delay in sending the information, what we can do is that we can store it in memory location and keep it there. And whenever we want, we can retrieve it back. That is for read operation. So what is the maximum delay what we have is expressed in terms of 8-bit unsigned numbers. What is that 8 bits? 2 raised to 8. 2 raised to 8 is 256. 256 months, it is varying from 0 to 255. So when it is 2 raised to 55, it is how much? There is 255 milliseconds. So this is the reason. Directly would have written 255 milliseconds, then we would have had a question there. So this 255 is because of last number minus 1 there. Now since each samples arrive at a 50 kilohertz, since this is in frequency, we need to convert it to a time domain there. So convert frequency to time, that is 50 per millisecond. When kilo is converted, it becomes millisecond. So it is per millisecond 50 samples are arriving. So we need to store up to how many? 255 into 50, that's around 12,750 because which has 8-bit delay there. So totally we can store around 12,750 samples per millisecond there. So what is the size there? At 16 kilo cross 16-bit memory with 14-bit address. Why here 16K is how much? It is 2 raised to 14. Okay, so this is the size of a memory location there, where each location is of 16 bits. Now let us see that. So this is a simple design for the given question. There if you observe, audio input is 16 as they already indicated. Address select depending upon the select signal for this multiplexer there. Memory enable and memory write. So which is storing the information there. So what is happening? Delay of 50 nanoseconds is given through the subtractor there. Okay. So now you can observe depending upon the address line, whether we want a count or the delay signals, we can use it here. But whatever the audio signal is there, it is available already in the memory location. Now, depending upon what the delay in this combinational circuit and the flip-flop present here, the respective output is given there after 50 nanoseconds. There is 50 milliseconds. Okay, clock count enable there. Okay, count enable because it has to be stored it in a 14-bit memory location. So the diagram of data path, including the memory, other components to compute the address is as shown. Okay. Now, so the figure shows the width of each of the multi-bit signal there. What are the respective signals? It has been just shown there. So we need to use 14-bit counter to keep track of where the samples are stored in the memory because that is the number of memory locations what we have, 16K. So each input samples arrives, we store it at the next available memory location whose address is given by the counter there. Okay, so the counter is giving the address because that's a delay what we are having it in the figure there. You can observe count enable is storing the, it's giving the address locations what we have there. So we next read from the memory location memory the value written d millisecond in the past, where d is the value of the delay input. Okay, what delay we want to store it in memory location is provided there and provide it at the respective output when the time is required, and next it goes to the next location. Then increment the counter to refer to the next location. So after the data has been read, then automatically the pointer goes to the next location. Okay, and all this operation is explained with the help of a timing diagram here. So, okay, if we observe, okay, respective clock signals here, and if you observe in this particular rising edge, okay, enable becomes active. Okay, where the data is having the value there. Once the enable becomes active, at this falling edge, the data is available at the audio output signal there. Okay, clear. The same way, when the signal is active, the next state, the next data is taken and transferred it here. Okay, so in this way, the data is read with the help of an enable signal there, what we have. So this enable is for output enable and this enable is for the audio input. If you observe this enable, you are getting the data there. And in this enable, you are getting the audio out. There's a data out, what we have. Okay. So in this way, we can receive the signal or send the signal depending upon the enable signal present at the input or the output. Clear? So the value written d millisecond previously is around 50 milliseconds per location there, because prior to the current location given by the address system, as we know that it is having a delay of 50 milliseconds. Thus we compute it address by multiplying d by 50 and subtracting the results from the value of the address counter there. Okay, so in this way what we do is that we transfer the data to a respective memory location by seeing the respective delay there. So the counter will increment to the maximum address value and then wrap around to 0. It means what? After the memory is full, then again it comes back to 0. Okay, effectively incrementing the modulo 16k operation there. So how it again comes back to location 0 is that it just performs the modulo 16 operation. Okay, but before coming to the next location, the data stored in the memory has to be retrieved or else the data is lost. Thus, once the memory is filled, old locations will be overwritten with the newly arriving samples. Okay, so what happens here is that once the old memory is filled, all the old location data has to be read, because when the new samples arise, it will be overwritten there. That's the thing what is happening frequently in the memory operations. Clear? Now, what are the two steps what we have? The control sequence for the unit involves two steps. As we know, read and write, same thing is explained here. So when a sample arrives, that is audio enable is being one, sets the multiplier to use the counter value as the address and enable the memory to program a write operation. Okay. Now, similar way, when the multiplexer to use the subtractor output as a memory address, enable the memory location to perform a read operation set by the audio output and the enable one there. And then enable the counter to increment to the next counter. So these are the two important steps which is happening. Now we just explain the control sequence with the help of sentence. Now let us see with the help of a table there. That is about finite state machine. So we can use step 1 as the idle state for the state machine that controls this sequence, provided we use the audio in enable signal to get the write control signal to the memory. Either it decides the write operation with the help of audio input or the read operation depending on the audio output. So this is a transition table what we have. If you observe the transition table, there is a state machine table. Step 1 is what? Audio input enable is 0. So this is the initial condition where it is all are zeros. That is idle state. When it receives the signal, if you observe audio input enable, observe here, when you are receiving the input signal, what happens here? Step 1 goes to the step 2. What is that step 2? It enables the memory and it enables the write operation such that it performs the write operation to the memory location, whatever the data is received at the data input. Similarly, after performing that, it can go to the read enable there. So what happens is the enable is 1 already there. Take and don't care. So address is selected, memory is enabled still. Now read operation, because WR is 0. Count enable is made 1 and output is made 1. Clear? If you observe here, so this is the simple way of designing the finite state machine. This is control signal finite state machine, where it is controlling the operation of a memory there. Clear? So in this way, the memory can be designed. For one example, what we have taken it here for a audio input signal, and with the respective delay what is required. If you have any questions, go to the comment section, write down the question. I'll reply to your question. If you like my video, subscribe to my channel and share with your friends. If you like my video, click on the bell icon for further notification. Thank you.